James Turner for the untouchable true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with thousands of True School Sports. All right, so just to be honest with you guys, I really didn't want to do this video because out of all the fights that happened on the Canelo Berlanga card, this is the fight that I cared about the least because I thought it was a completely pointless fight. But due to popular demand, due to not one, not two, not three, not four, but even more than 5 people asking me and waiting for this video, I'm going to go ahead and make it. And we're going to discuss Danny Garcia and Erislandy Lara. So first, before I get into the actual fight itself, let me preface everything I'm about to say by telling you guys that really and truthfully, Danny Garcia and Erislandy Lara are 2 of my least favorite fighters on the PBC roster. Now, I don't dislike them. I don't hate them. I just don't really care for them. And the reason why I've never really been big on Danny Garcia and Erislandy Lara because it is they're both very similar. You know, Danny Garcia for a long time I believe has been living off of resting on his laurels and living off of what he did 10 years ago when he beat, you know, Lucas Matisse and Amir Khan, which were great wins. But this sport of boxing's tough, and you got to always continue to prove yourself. And I do feel that at welterweight he did prove to be a good fighter, a solid competitor, but in the grand scheme of things, overrated fighter, right? And Lara, more than Danny even, I would say, has rested on his laurels of having a good performance against Canelo Alvarez. And, you know, to be honest, on paper, Lara has never beaten anybody to get all the notoriety he's gotten, you know. Just being honest, I know people say he got robbed against Paul Williams, but he still didn't beat him. He didn't beat Paul Williams. He didn't beat Brian Castano. He didn't beat Canelo. So I look at this fight as 2 guys that are very similar, you know, guys that rest on their laurels, are both very inactive fighters and probably get way too much credit than they really deserve for what they've actually done in the boxing ring. That's just my opinion. That's how I see it. Mind you, I've been not really looking forward to this particular fight since I was in Japan last year, because last year when I was in Japan, the WBA had just announced that they had approved this fight to happen at the 157 catchweight. So I've disliked this fight for a very, very long time, going all the way back to last summer. Now, to get into the actual fight, how it played out, it actually played out worse than I thought it could. First and foremost, if you just look at the style matchup, it's 2 fighters that are counter punchers who are both, you know, traditionally speaking, both rather inactive. You know, Lara did fight this year, so I'll give him credit for that. But for the most part, these guys are no strangers to you know, 12, 14, 16 month plus layoffs. And so I thought when I envisioned this fight in my head, I always thought that you'd get Danny Garcia trying to wait out Lara. You'd get Lara trying to probe that southpaw jab to set up that straight left hand. And that's pretty much what we got. And you know, Danny Garcia, he got hit. What was it, in the 9th round with the left hand, and basically took a knee, and then Angel Garcia stopped the fight because he didn't like what he was seeing, and it was a rather forgettable, uneventful fight. Now, Danny Garcia can be very proud of himself because, you know, there's a lot of stories in boxing about fighters who don't do well with their money. They don't put their money in the right places. They make hundreds of millions of dollars and end up broke, right? I don't think he's going to be one of those guys because I know that he's done very well with his money. I know from years ago, because like back in 2017 in South Florida, he was doing a lot of autograph signings at these Dunkin' Donuts. And I met his business partner years ago, a guy named Jeffrey Gordon. And I come to find out that Danny Garcia has, you know, he owns a couple Dunkin' Donuts. You know, he owns, you know, property in Philadelphia. He owns property in South Florida. So you can't obtain these kind of things if you're not, you know, if your money's not in the right places. So I think he's done very well for himself in boxing. He's built up a beautiful family. But yeah, I think this fight, especially from the Danny Garcia side of things, this is a guy that really just fought and showed up for a check. That's what I think. He didn't fight, in my opinion, like he really wanted to win in this fight. And he had the body language, and and it's not just been this fight. I think for like the last, I won't even say 4 years. I'll say for the last, you know, 5, 6 years, I believe Danny Garcia has been a content fighter. a fighter that has achieved everything that he wanted to achieve in boxing, being a multi-division champion, getting some big knockouts, winning some big fights, getting a lot of money and doing well with his money. So I think after a certain point, I'll say probably after the Thurman fight, or even you could even say probably after the Granados fight, I think that would have been the optimal time for him to retire, because for years we've been asking the question, you know, and I heard people say, if Danny Garcia would throw his hands more, if Danny Garcia was more active, you know. But look, if I was 6'5", if I was 6'7", 6'8", I'd play shooting guard, small forward for the Charlotte Hornets. You know, they could use your boy BT right now, but we can't go by ifs. We gotta look at, you know, what reality is, and what reality is that Danny Garcia was winning fights for a long time at 140 because of his counter punching and his heavy hands. But if his heavy hands and his counter punching don't have an effect on his opponents at 47 or 54, or in this case, you know, 160, then, you know, he needed to find new ways to win. And I think Danny Garcia wasn't really able to adjust his style. He wasn't able to refine things to continue winning at the highest level. He can compete, and he did, but to win is a whole other story, you know. And Danny Garcia, I think is a good fighter. You know, I think he gets more credit than he really deserves, to be honest with you. You know, I don't got anything against him. I'm just telling you guys, you know, he hasn't really achieved, in my humble opinion, in the boxing ring. I'm talking about specifically in the boxing ring, not business, not money accumulated. I'm talking about in the boxing ring. He hasn't really done anything like special since his run at 140, if we're being honest, you know. So yeah, that's my thought on that. You know, if that was the last time we see him in the ring, then, you know, congratulations to him in advance on a good career, and he can definitely hold his head high and be proud of himself, because he fought a lot of good competition. But as far as Lara, I mean, I like to see Lara be in a real significant fight, because all these fights, you know, like Spike O'Sullivan, Michael Zarafa, Danny Garcia, these are not significant fights, and he's got that WBA title hostage. So either he could fight Carlos Adames, and I think Carlos Adames in a unification fight would be great, you know. Like in a perfect world, you know, my boy Ian Green will get a title shot because he's the #3 contender. He's a very good fighter. But you know, I don't know, man. Lara gotta do something, because I don't like this like whole like, oh, you're just sitting on the title fighting cannon fodder opposition. I understand middleweight is not good, but like at some point, like make an effort to unify the division, or try to unify the division. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. There's not a whole lot to say. I mean, the Mexican fans in the building that night said it the best. They booed the hell out of this fight because it was worth booing. It was not eventful. You know, I was on my phone most of the fight, so you know, it wasn't no classic fight. It was definitely not worthy of a co-main event, and it was one of the most pointless fights that boxing has made in a long time, and that's saying something. So y'all wanted my opinion on the fight. That's my opinion on the fight. That's my opinion on Lara. That's my opinion on Danny Garcia. No hate on them. It's just a boxing opinion. So, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the Untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm at the Boxing Hall of Fame out here in Canterbury, New York. And for more great boxing content just like this video, make sure you click and subscribe right over here.